How's it going? Thank you for joining Shop Talk Live. My name is Rick Ramirez, also known as Rick's Two Cents, along with my fellow co-host Steve from Steve Makes Everything.
Howdy, y'all.
It looks like people were pretty active in the chat. Like 30 minutes before you went live, they were kind of jumping in, saying hello.
I never looked in the chat yet.
Yeah, so let's see here. Tony said hello, Cleveland, Ohio, in the house. Hello.
Hey, Tony.
I said to him earlier, I said hello because he said knock knock, anyone home. It was 5 o'clock. 5:51 he was rating it live, so he's over 30 minutes early. Thank you for joining, Tony. Appreciate you. Chris said good day from down under. Hello, hey, Chris. Thank you for checking in. Of course, guys, appreciate everyone joining and let us know where you checked in. And as always, if you have any questions, let us know. But it's definitely cool to see where everyone's joining from.
Hey, Tim. Tim says he's taking bets on if Ricky turns up tonight.
So, while my son was not in school, my wife would work at night so that he was like because she had to have him during the day, basically, right? And then certain nights, like our live, my wife actually worked in the afternoon, so I had him on my live. So that's why sometimes I was joining the live last minute. So I'm getting him dinner, getting ready, and I'm rushing right off the live because I'm getting him in the shower. But now that he's back in school started again. My wife switched her schedule back to during the day. So like right now they're home, and I'm not saying it won't pop up, but I'm not keeping an eyeball on him while we're on the live.
School has started already?
Yeah, he's been in school 2 weeks already.
Holy cow. School here.
So I'll let him know you guys are asking about
start till after Labor Day.
So I'm still in the finals for the Ace commercial, guys. So see what happens with that. That'd be so cool if I make it.
Tim says, I know what Steve will be talking about, the new X-Tool X1. That thing would give me back my shop area. So there are limited things I can say about the X1. I really can't say anything more than you've probably seen in their teaser videos.
You have one?
There's one on the way.
Nice.
Parts are starting to show up. So
okay. Is that the 60-watt laser?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say.
Oh, okay. Because I saw someone do a teaser. It said 60 watt, their largest CO2 laser they've had so far.
Oh, on the CO2 side?
It was huge.
I will say no, it's not 60 watts.
Okay.
It's an interesting tool. Like I argued a few weeks ago, I think 2027 is going to be the multi-tool year.
Yeah.
As much as some of us, including me, sometimes would like to have tools all over the place so I can just use one for a specific thing. I see the appeal, which is what Tim's alluding to here, because like on the workbench that I have all my lasers on, the counter, I mean, I've got a P2, I've got two F2s, I've got a comm marker Cox CO2 gantry laser, I've got the Titan one, and I could get rid of all of them with an X1.
Pretty cool. The only problem that I say is that having one's like having none, right? If your business is completely around one machine and it went down, you're screwed.
There is that aspect, right? There are definitely things to argue about, right? That like
so I guess you're just gonna have to buy two.
Maybe.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe you have an X1 with a CO2 and a fiber laser, and another one with a diode laser and a UV laser, right? Who knows?
Yeah. It sounds ridiculous, but like even like a DeWalt drill. I go buy a new DeWalt drill. I bought two. My wife was like, "You're buying a new drill, so why are you buying two?" I'm like, I'm a lineman. When you use a drill all day long, every day, if your drill breaks, what am I supposed to say? I couldn't finish my job because my drill broke? No, you got to have another one just in case this one breaks.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, I have
what's your
multiples.
livelihood?
I have multiples of I most of my shop tools are like hand tools are Milwaukee,
Yeah,
and I have multiples of like impact drivers and hammer
yeah,
drills and things. It's like, I mean, how often do you use one of those, right? Not
right,
often, but if it doesn't work, you're off to the hardware
exactly,
store to buy a new one anyway, right? So
exactly. No, but I think there's truth to what you said though about the lasers, and I definitely think the multi tool is cool. But I think that people always ask, right, like, what's the best laser? I don't think there's a best laser. There's a best laser for the job, right? So let's just say that particular laser being occupied by making something else, you have another order you need to work on. There could be a different type of laser, or a different laser could do it. Maybe the X will do it more efficiently, but you'd have another laser could do it as well, right? Um, and as you start having
yeah,
multi lasers, that's the advantage.
yeah, I think the goal uh, is just to make like, I mean, I mean, we could ask for a show of hands, like who's got too much room in their shop, right?
Right,
No one.
right,
Like right now. So I mentioned just before we went on that Lightmake is sending me the replacement L4. It's going to go on the floor right now, right at the door. Like it literally, they're going to take it off the forklift and drop it on the floor, and that's the only. If I could get rid of some of those tools, you know,
yeah,
like I have four 3D printers. I have two UV printers. I have, I don't know, half a dozen lasers. And like, do I need them all? They all have a purpose.
right.
But if I could replace them all with one box, that was reliable. I mean, it has to work. Um, I would probably do that.
That's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
So
Can you share how much it costs,
I
or
don't
do you
know
not
how
know?
much it costs.
Yeah, I would assume with a resource like that, it's not going to be cheap. It's going to have
Yeah,
a
I mean, figure it's going to start at the price of a P2S probably, and
yeah,
go up from there, right? I mean, you take all of X Tools lasers and add the price together, and if you bought everything, that's probably what it's going to cost, right? Something close to that.
yeah.
So,
Santa's Living Grave said, "What kind of machines?" I heard it's everything under the sun. Yeah, there's a lot of different videos on this laser people
well,
dropping.
what I like is there's a couple of guys. I forget the name of the guy. He does a lot of reviews of stuff that's up and coming. And he did a review. Tim probably knows who I'm talking about because I sent him the guy's video, because he did a review a couple of weeks ago when Bamboo announced the R1, and on the same day Xtool announced the X1. And he did this review about, oh, look at all these, what are all these things? And I just felt like he speculated a lot, and at that point I just
Right.
felt like putting a comment in his video to say you're wrong. but I didn't.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I saw a sneak peek of that laser. There was I've never seen her before. She's does reviews. Camera zooms in. She's bent down in her downward direction. You're getting a different view. And she smiles and says, "This is the biggest." And then
oh,
it shows the laser,
that
and
must
it's
be
the
Katie.
box.
That
Then she
must be
doesn't.
Katie.
And then, but she doesn't like show everything in the laser. She kind of like sneak peeks and shows you she has the box, but doesn't. It's like a teaser.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'll check
yeah.
that one out.
It's. I don't know what the advantage of teasing things is, um, but yeah, there's definitely some cool things coming out between now and this time next year. Like even
TTC
the
nineteen.
O1, right? The O1
Yeah,
is not just a UV printer. The O1 is designed to be a platform.
yeah.
And I had a few conversations with Xtool about some of the stuff that's coming, and it's like, yeah, this looks pretty cool.
TTC 1940 said, "Hello from Chicago. Hello, hello. I hope you're not
Hey,
getting
Jim,
beat up
did you get your
with these
backwards
storms."
engraving fixed, Jim?
I tell you what, every weekend I've said I was gonna be in the basement doing this, doing that, and every week, actually the first week this is the first week actually we haven't got hit with like crazy storms. Um, it has just been nuts. I tell you, I've had a chainsaw in my hand at least 3 to 4 days out of the week the last month. Like insane.
Presumably the hottest part of summer's past now. So
Yeah, but just man, yeah. So I think this is a new name. I could be wrong, but I don't recognize the name. So hello from Apache Junction, Arizona.
we
Hello.
assume
Thank you.
I assume
Thank
that's
you
an
for
accurate
joining. Let
person.
us know if you have any questions. Appreciate you checking in. I got a question for everybody. Me and Steve were talking before we went live, and I was listening to the radio this morning on the way to work, and they were saying adaptive spending, right? What is an adaptive spending? Things like we're all talking about earning additional income, but what is something that you've been adapted over time, that you've spent your hard-earned dollar without even realizing it? And one of the biggest things they first brought up was TV, right? We all had those rabbit ears. We all had antennas on our roofs. And when cable came out and says, what idiot's going to pay for TV when you can get it for free? Adaptive spending. We all went to cable, right? And then come along these as the internet got faster, all became along these apps, right? Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus and etc. There's probably a slew more. And Cody added to that, right? Everyone wants to get these new movies out. And he said, well, I'm not going to pay for cable. I'm going to get the app. But now you don't have one app. You have 3 or 4 apps. I'm curious how many apps you guys actually have. I know I have probably at least 5. But when you add up the apps now, it's not any cheaper than cable, right? So that's adaptive spending. So the one other thing they're saying is with this, I don't want to get in politics, but this meat that they're bringing into the United States from Argentina, China said no. Where are you importing it? It's not going through the FDA. So adaptive changing, like we used to go to a butcher and you get your meat, and those were common, right? And most of the time, if they didn't have at least one well-known butcher in your town, there was one in a neighboring town, right? And when you want to have an impressive barbecue or something, you went to the butcher. You didn't go to the grocery store, and you'd get that nice slab of ribs or something like that. But butchers, they don't exist. That is a thing of the past.
Yeah,
But
they
now
still
what
exist
people
here. I can
right?
still go to a butcher. They're
Yeah,
rare.
but no, yes, but now with things changing the way things are, I can see that adaptive change coming back. Like if people are starting to question the food, right? If you went to a farmer and said, "Hey, I'd like to split a cow with 4 people," and they put you on a list, and 4 families come, and they say, "Hey, this one cow, it's $350, split 4 ways. You're going to get X, Y, Z of whatever." Adaptive spending, I can see those type of things starting to come back with the way our economy is changing. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I see the barter system coming back in a big way soon. It's pretty prevalent where I live. No one wants receipts.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, just it's crazy.
it's just you drop a dollar bill, and well, we don't have dollar bills anymore. A $5 bill, and if it lands face up, you pay the government. If it lands face down, the government doesn't know anything about it. That's how it works, right? And
Yeah,
but a
yeah.
lot
I
of
mean,
people they just trade stuff, right?
yeah. I like it when it's on Facebook Marketplace and it says, whatever for sale or willing to trade for, and it's like a generator. Willing to trade for a 4 wheeler. You know what I mean? Because that's what they're selling. They're going to buy.
Yeah.
So hey, if they just get what they want, both people are happy, right?
Yeah, this is the start with a paper clip and buy a house model at the end, right?
Yes, yes. That was actually that was crazy when that came out. Right, Dewey said, "Hello, all." Yeah, so I'm curious, how many of you actually have dropped cable, went to some type of streaming platform, and now you're right back up way before cable was?
So I dropped Netflix, I don't know, 2 years ago. Haven't missed it. Um, I have Amazon Prime just as a result of having Amazon Prime.
Yep, same.
Um, that's probably it. I'm trying to
So
think if
so
I
Netflix has
I
become
mean I
like
have
all the
a really basic cable package.
okay. So Netflix has become like all this dubbed movies. You guys are making fun of me when I was having issues with the MacBook Pro. Like It's like all these Chinese movies that are dubbed. My wife's like, "Why do you watch this?" I'm like, "What? It looks horrible." I'm like, "I don't know. It's something on TV." But there's a lot of dub movies on Netflix now. It's kind of crazy. Jack said, "How's it going?"
Hey, Jack.
Chris said, "I think it's going to be a modular system." Yeah, I mean, just saying, like,
I think he's referring to the X1 specifically
oh,
on
okay.
this. We're just getting to that question. Might be right. Maybe not.
McPhil3D said, "Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Thank you for dropping in. Let us know if you have any questions. Appreciate you checking in." All right.
I
All
mean,
right. Let's see.
the thing with the X1 specifically is it's like a flying gantry, right? Or a flying galvo. That's really going to put pressure on who's the company that has the flying galvo laser now. Like X-Tool is just going to eat those guys alive. Not Alien Cell. That's the X1. I forget the name of the company, but they didn't get a whole lot of traction. And I think they're going to disappear pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's crazy. Tim said, "But we can take all our current lasers and put them away. Easy backup." Yeah.
Yeah, store them. So now you just have to pay for a locker. Speaking of adaptive spending.
Did I save any money after I spent 5 years at self storage? I don't know. TC 940 said, "The price of these multi lasers is the price going through the roof." Yeah, I mean, I
Well,
think any.
not necessarily though. You don't. I mean, if they're modular, you don't have to buy all the modules, right? You can buy the ones you want.
Oh, if you're like literally buying ahead, and then that's how you're swapping them
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
Yeah, that's cool. But I also think that whenever there's a new kid on the block and they're the latest and greatest, the one who has it, there's not much competition. They don't have to be competitive in the pricing. But as that becomes the norm and everyone else starts doing the same, you'll see that price come down.
yeah. Well, sure. Everybody's going to do it if it gets traction, right?
Right.
But I mean, I've kind of seen this multi-tool direction forming for the last year or so, and I think 2027, like 2026, was the year of the UV printer, right? And I think 2027 is going to start merging a lot of things together.
Jack in the Shop said pretty much exactly what I said earlier. If you got three, you got to have three. If you have one goes down. What are you gonna do with just one? Yeah, so just yeah, and and
Yeah,
it's nice. It's convenient too to have machines jigged or set up for one purpose, and that's the
yeah,
way.
and these are
It's a
the
luxury. It's
arguments.
not a necessity.
These are the arguments that these companies who want to make multi-tools are going to have to deal with, right? But if you think about, if you had a machine that had a UV printer and a laser cutter in it, you could do print and cut like in an actual real way, not the way that X-Tool did it in the M2. I don't really like the M2 from that perspective for print and cut. It works, but it's like, But I think there's real opportunity here if they build the right product. It's always got to be the right product. But there is the argument of, well, what if it fails and then I can't do anything, right?
Yeah. Tim said that is a magic question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tony said I have a shopsmith and made good money with it. Not sure what a shopsmith is.
It's a multi-tool thing.
Okay.
It's like a wood lathe and a drill press and a bunch of other stuff. Like it's more like standard woodworking tools. And they've been around, like this kind of tool has been around like shopsmith for, I don't know, probably since the 70s almost. So it's not a new idea, but I think what's changed is the capability of the multiple tools. but there will always be this argument of, well, what if it fails? So,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Just to me, if you are a business, it's one thing if it's a hobby, you're starting at home, but if you're a business and that is your livelihood, you should not have one.
Yeah.
If you're going to have a multi-tool, then you should have two multi-tools.
Yeah.
And if you're going to
Well,
start one, your
I
goal
think
should
that's
be
probably the
to
direction that it'll go, right? Like if you have a small business and you buy one of these things and it's busy all the time, or you're always maybe swapping tools, doing whatever, you're going to buy another one, right? Because if it's
right.
busy, then you have justification to buy a second one.
Yep.
But I think, like in X Tools' case, I think what they're trying to do is kind of bridge that gap between side hustle and small business, right? So you're not like, the guy we talked to 2 weeks ago, I guess, down in Austin, right? Like he's got tools that are busy all the time. So this wouldn't be the right tool for him, but like a guy like Jim on our live here, he has a bunch of lasers, and maybe he runs them all the time, maybe he doesn't, right? He's got a little side hustle going, but the biggest benefit of Xtool specifically is the fact that it's all integrated into Xtool Studio, right? So you learn one piece of software to do everything. And if companies did that, then there might be justification. Like I look at it and go, I got a business and I have lasers busy all the time, but I don't have space.
Right. I see the modular perspective as if a one and done, meaning one CO2, one fiber laser, one multiple laser, and you start adding up like the cost of these equipment, right? What it would cost. If they would have a laser that's capable of, multiple lasers, but you don't have to buy, it's modular, so you don't have to buy the head or the inner components to make that particular, you could grow into that laser. To me, that would be, that's a good option.
Like I think, CNCs have had laser modules available forever. No one wants them.
No.
Bamboo with their laser inside a 3D printer, that wasn't a great success. And I think a lot of it is in part the time to retool the thing. Like Snapmaker, the original Snapmakers, right? They did CNC, laser, and 3D printer. And the problem is, if you wanted to switch from a CNC to a 3D printer, it was like you disassemble the thing and put it back together again in a different way. But if it takes, let's say it takes 5 seconds, 10 seconds to change from one type of laser to another, I don't think people will find that too cumbersome.
Mm-hmm.
Like you flip a lever, pull the thing out, put another one in, and close the lever again, right?
That's cool.
I don't think people would be too negative to that, especially if you could do that swap in the middle of a job.
Oh, that would be insane,
right? So I want to do a cutout, and then I want to do an engrave with maybe a UV printer or laser. Relief. Do a little bit of an engrave, and then I want to, I don't know, do something with a piece of metal and drop it in there. Then I want a MOPA laser of some sort, right?
And not move the piece, so it's still
the piece just stays there. Right, so I take a piece of acrylic, I cut a round hole out of it, and then I drop a coin in it and engrave it right there.
That's cool.
Right, all from the.
I don't have multiples, but I have others that can get the job done. Exactly what I was saying. It may not be, not that one laser is better than the other, but you have a purpose for a particular laser. So,
but I think that's where the secret to success for these things is, right? Is just that, like, if you can nail the ease of use and integration of all these things, I think people will say that's a better experience than what I have.
Yeah, I have to agree with this comment with Sanders, because I've said this about as a general vague statement. Like Sanders Lavegrave said, I think you lose something when you try to make something do multiple things. It's best in everything to mediocre versus one tool specialized. And I would agree to this to say that, like, when you're buying a tool, you can buy the best of a particular something. And in most cases, I'm not saying Xtool's not, but in most cases, when it's a multi-tool, it's not the best of either.
So I have said this exact same thing too. But I would put a disclaimer on that historically they haven't been the best tools. But what if they are?
Right. To me, the winning statement with that would be modular, a laser you can grow into. It's a laser
Yeah.
that's basically a $25,000 laser that could start at entry level of $2,000, $3,000 because you're buying the cheapest modular. And as your business grows, as you continue to grow as a business, you can continue to grow the laser. To me, that's what would be appealing
Yeah,
to.
and I do think that when companies get going on this, I think that's where they're headed.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, these guys have to have learned something from some of those fiascos around CNCs with lasers on them, and I mean, those things are just brutal.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that we went from this don't use an open frame to let's put a laser in a CNC. Well, isn't that
Yeah,
open frame? I mean,
which is the worst of all because the thing you're cutting into is a piece of wood,
right.
the
So
spoiled
what?
board.
What? Yeah, like we took 5 steps forward and we're taking 2 steps back. Yeah. Jack said, I would just take my current lasers and make them just backups, just in case. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I wouldn't say throw them out, but I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket. If that's all I had, like, I'm just even as crazy as it sounds, like I have this new rolling printer behind me. I got a 54-inch that I took out and I have it in my basement. And I've been like going back and forth, like to sell it or not, because like if I start gearing up and start selling stuff, and that's the only way I can do it. My wife's like, why won't you just let things go? Just sell it. And I agree because I can get some decent money for it, but it's just kind of like we're just talking about. Literally makes you feel nervous when that's the only way you're capable of doing something. And if I start advertising a ton, or I start putting out something, or something happens, I could be in trouble.
Yeah, but I think if anyone can pull this off, it'll be X Tool. He's ordering a pizza or something. Jeez. Oh.
I guess there's a big accident. They
Yeah.
went off the road and they drove into my property line. I guess they're
Oh,
on
yeah.
the side of my house right now. Some old man crashed off the side of the road.
Well, as long as you don't have to put a chalk outline on your line,
Yeah.
you're okay. But yeah, I mean, if anybody can pull this off, I think it'll be X Tool. I mean, look at what they did with the Wonder Press, right? It's a multi-tool, and you don't
Yeah.
hear people going, "Oh, it's not the best, you know, vacuum former or the best T-shirt thing." It is the best T-shirt thing now.
I think
And
the biggest difference is if you're new kids on the block and you're trying to come out with a multi-tool, I think that's a bad idea as a company, right?
yeah,
But I
yeah,
think that if you're an established company that has a lot of lesson learns along the way, you've learned the pros and cons of all those particular items. So you're taking that knowledge of all that lesson learned and say what worked and what did not work with a product, and try to make the best of a multi-tool, right? Um, that does give you a
yeah,
competitive
yeah. I mean, I
advantage.
think when you decide you're going to build one of these things, you have to set down the criteria, and one of them has to be this thing has to be at least as good a tool individually as all the other tools that are out there, right?
Right.
Because if you can't make a tool as good as you know,
Your own. You just let's compete.
yeah,
Forget competitors. Compete against
right,
yourself. If
right,
somebody has
like,
one of their own tools and they buy a multi-tool and you're like, why the hell did I spend 3 times the amount when the tool I have that I bought 2 years ago works better than what I just bought?
yeah, like if the X1, for example, has a UV laser in it and it's not as good as the F2 Ultra UV, then why would they build this, right?
Yeah.
So, which raises a different kind of question: is what happens to X Tool if this thing is successful, right? All of a sudden, they go from selling 5 different lasers to selling one laser, right?
Right.
Now, I kind of wondered this when they came out with the O1 too, right? Because the O1 DT UV can print T-shirts just like the apparel printer. So, do they need the apparel printer anymore? Now, Tim actually has one. I haven't heard him say I'm going to get rid of my apparel printer. And when he bought an O1, he bought the dual UV. So, I don't know. There's got to be reasons, but I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen over the next few months or year.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how well it works, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Wade said the stuff I make starts to take up space. Yeah.
Yeah. That's when you have to have a yard sale.
Yeah. So, what's crazy is there's no secret I'm a DeWalt guy, but every time I buy a tool, I don't buy just a tool only because I want the battery, right? The batteries are expensive.
Yeah.
But every time I buy a battery, what comes with their charger? So as we're cleaning up the basement because of the flood and all that, I literally had like a DeWalt bag that's like comes with the multi-tool, which is like it's huge. It's like looks like a military duffel bag. It was filled of brand new chargers. And as I start looking up how much these chargers cost, they're like $100 a piece. And I'm like, I'm gonna sell these. Like, why the hell did I hang on to these? But yeah, taking up space is just junk, but
Yeah.
I didn't throw it away because it was new, right?
I have too much stuff. Way too much.
Yes. So
And I like I have I still have the GWick M Core sitting in my shop. I should sell it or give it away or do something because I already have a metal fab sitting there that can do everything it can do. I have a P2S which can do all of the CO2 stuff. So I don't really need it. And it's just taking up space. And somebody else could benefit from that, right? So
speaking of giving away, there was 2 entry-level laser manufacturers who reached out to me. 2 entry-level lasers that a manufacturer reached out to me, wanted me to do the review. And I said no. And they came back, really, really asked me. And I said, okay, I'll tell you what. If you give me 3, and I can give them away, I'll do the review. And 2 manufacturers said yes. So guys, that'll be 6 lasers we're going to be giving away soon. So I'm finding out the details, what they want me to cover. But they're 20-watt lasers. 20-watt laser and closed laser are pretty decent lasers. Hold on one second, guys. Sorry. My wife said they're trying to direct traffic, and the guy's scared to direct traffic. Do you want to go out and direct traffic? I said, no. What's crazy is, as a lineman, when we make guys be a flagger and like they're standing there in the street and flagging, they'd get so like mad when that was like a new guy. And I said, you gotta have some like take that fear away from you to stand on the side of a highway or a tollway or side of a road where someone's doing 75 miles an hour, because if you're not aggressive to traffic and make sure that they're not driving where they're not supposed to be, I'm gonna get killed. Yeah. So she just assumed I want to go out and run traffic. No, I'm good. But I don't even know what we were talking about before I answered that call, so I apologize.
You lost the
I lost my train of thought. Yeah.
It's okay. Time to take some more text.
She's so worried about this accident. Chris said, Santa, I don't count them as multi-tools if it's lasers X rather than Y, laser versus CNC. Yeah, I mean, literally, I've slowly been taking over more and more space of my basement. So
yeah, that's the thing, right? Like you put a 4x4 CNC somewhere in a corner, and there's 16 square feet are gone, right?
Yeah, I have 3 CNCs in the basement. Like that is a lot of space, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let alone all the lasers and all that stuff,
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what's going to drive it is the space, right? It has to work, of course. It has to be good, but I think the marketing angle will be, save some space.
Yeah, Santa's Living Grid says, I still think you'll lose something even in the same line of product. Yeah, I mean,
it's possible. It's possible. And I mean, I've said this exact same thing, as I mentioned. The but who knows, right? That's history. Maybe the future is different.
Well, it said, those who don't know have a media following. How do you find buyers for your service or projects? Is it best to build it and they will come, or reach out what they offer? Steve, I think we can both add to this. You want to start first?
Well, technically, I have a media following, but I don't use my YouTube channel as my store. Um, I so for me, most buyers are they come to me from word of mouth. I don't advertise, um, and that's a slow way to build things. I'll tell you right now. But the advantage is, for me, I don't like to build 1,000 of anything, so I only have to build one of something, but I can make a lot more money doing that. So it works out the same. It's not like, hey, I make $1 million a year because I only make one of everything. But it's all done with word of mouth, and those people come with a purpose. I want my specific thing, and I'm willing to pay anything to get it. So that's how I work. I don't know, Rick, how do you?
So I want to say a couple different things. I want to say, for one, I agree everything what Steve just said. And for two, I want to say is that I'm so disappointed in so many YouTube influencers, and neither I or Steve do this. Make these false claims, pump and dump videos. We never do pump and dump videos. We don't sound like infomercials. We do these live question answers for this particular reason, right? We're not selling you anything like that. So when I see these these videos, I'm sorry, and they're like, take this 2x4 or take this 4x4 and drill a 2-inch hole into it, and take this 99-cent candle and stick it on the top, and then take a torch and torch it. And I made $7,000 this month, and I just saw this, and $7,000 this month. They paid whatever, and their following is doing it. And that same person who was saying this on their Facebook group, the guy says, what did I do wrong, man? Like, I followed the directions. They look great. Everything you said. And that same person made that video. Guess what they're not doing? Responding. And I responded, and I'm sorry if I ruffled someone's feathers, but I responded and said, the only person who made money off those builds is the guy who made the video. And that's because you get 20 million, he's got like 20 million views on his YouTube channel, so he's making a ton of views on saying $5,000 a month and getting all this. So I'm bringing all that up because what I want to say is, we always say collectively is that find your niche, right? So whatever your niche is going to be, stick in your lane, right? Don't start looking on YouTube and saying what's going to sell, do that. But what I will say is this: jump on the bandwagons of holidays. Christmas is coming. Halloween is coming. Start making those type of items. They're going to be seasonal items that are too big, too bulky to ship, right? Because it's going to cost too much. No one's going to buy a cedar jack-o'-lantern for $35 and pay $25 to get it shipped. That's ridiculous. But they'll pay $35 to drive your house, or you sell that at a farmer's market. So I would say, if you're just starting out, selling onesie twosies, $5 to $7 items, you're going to get discouraged because you're going to put more time and effort than the return on your investment you're getting.
Yeah.
It's just not going to feel like getting it there. So I would say, go on Google, type in what are, wherever you live. So if it's U.S., what are U.S. holidays of 2026? Bring it up, populate that list, and then go and start making things towards that. And then have your own niche and start improving your own process, improving your items that you make, that you consistently sell year round. But jump on those bandwagons as it comes around, because as you're making that money you put back in your business, you're going to be able to, like we're saying, having one is having none. You're going to be able to buy other things and be able to do things that's going to be able to make you be able to make things faster, better, and other things you can't do right now. So I know I kind of answered the question with a question, but I would say figure out your niche, stick to your niche, and then jump on the bandwagons of holidays. Every big box does it for a reason.
The caution, and this was the subject of my last video, is don't assume because you have a diode laser, you're going to be able to make a ton of things that people will, claw at you to get, right? Because it's really hard to build something unique with a single tool. That doesn't, I'm not saying, go out and take a $20,000 loan and fill your shop with tools, but be prepared for that, because like if you're going to make, you're gonna laser cut keychains. Maybe you put some engraving on them. You're not really gonna sell a lot of those, in part because everyone else is selling a lot of those too, right? So, um, you just have to be prepared to start slow and grow as like you make a keychain, even if you make $1 on it, right? If you're selling 100 of them, well, there's $100 you can buy a palm sander, right? Or you just have to be prepared that it's a slow burn unless you've got
Here's also my
a
best
disposable
advice.
budget to fill your shop with tools.
Here's also my best advice. Don't put off a sale for a possible sale. And what I mean by that is, Steve just said, somebody wants you to make a keychain, you're only gonna make $1, right? And you're like, oh, I'm only gonna make $1, right? So I'd rather spend my time trying to make something that I think I'm gonna sell. Or I'm gonna start working on some graphics and that I think I'm gonna sell. Work on something you think's gonna sell when you don't have something that is selling.
Yeah,
Don't put off so even if you only need $1, do that first.
yeah,
Because even that one
make
dollar,
that dollar, and
make
then
that
go do
dollar.
something else, right?
Yeah. Because who knows? They can also just be testing you to see like does he actually do good work? Is it worth
Yeah,
it? And
and
then all
I
of a
mean,
sudden,
I've done, like I said, I tend to make only one of something, but every once in a while, somebody will say, "Hey, can you make?" I need a set of coasters, and you know how much I hate coasters, but I'll make a set for them, right? And
right.
then 2 weeks later, they're back and they want something else, like make me a piece of furniture, make whatever, right? It's always something bigger. Um, And I mean, I had a guy who wanted literally a set of coasters, made them, and he came back a month later and said, he wanted a cribbage board, but he wanted very specific. He wanted it inlaid. He wanted a bunch of stuff. And so I made a boatload of money on that. I made nothing on the coasters,
Correct.
basically nothing, right? A few bucks. But I made a lot of money on this custom cribbage board. I mean, the thing was big and it was almost like a table. I felt like putting legs on it.
Right. And the reason it's too important to find your niche is so that you don't burn yourself out, right? Because if you're focusing on a particular type of product, then you're not burning yourself out on a whole lot of fails, right? Because and you may start off with a whole lot of fails because you may not know what your niche is yet. You may not, but what I would say is I would rather have a niche that I'm not copying Steve, right? Like, oh, Steve's making a ton of money because he's selling this. So I'm going to do what Steve does. I rather do what I'm passionate in because I'm going to be more driven through the process. Like my niche is memorial stuff, right? So like I'm very passionate about it. And, I love doing that type of thing, but memorial stuff could mean that I'm printing stickers. Memorial stuff could mean that I'm making t-shirts. Memorial stuff could mean that I'm making, all different kinds of stuff, so just that's what I'm saying. So
How many T-shirts do you make for a funeral? Do people wear like T-shirts at the funerals?
I live in the Chicagoland area, man. It's a murder capital of the world. It's a lot of gang violence. A lot. It's rough out here.
And they want T-shirts?
I have a lot of black customers, and I say this because black families do humongous family reunions,
Yeah.
and they always have T-shirts. So,
Well, see, that's
so
different, right? That's not so much in a memorial. That's like an event of some
no,
sort.
but that's how I met them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, that's
Because
true. Yeah.
I met it because what happens, I met them in a memorial shirt, right? And they get the shirt and then they go back home. And this person came to Chicago and they're from Tennessee. And then when this person does the memorial, man, they got people come from all over the whole country. And that's kind of pulled me out of my niche. But that's what every customer bring you a customer, right? But it's still a shirt. But yeah, so don't get discouraged as you're first learning. I would say focus on 3 products. Focus on 3 products and try to really do those 3 products. If you're beating head against the wall and just not working, drop it and just try something else. Try something else and find something that's going to consistently sell. And then, okay, that's your one item. And then try another one. But don't try doing 25, 30 different things at once. You're going to burn yourself out and you're going to be discouraged when it doesn't sell. And
Yeah,
I
if you're
think
just
3 is your time.
I was going to say, as you're just getting going, 3 to 5 would be, if you make more than 5, things
No,
that you're trying to sell at once, it's too much.
it's too much. Yeah, but you will succeed. Don't worry, you will succeed.
Yeah, it's perseverance is the biggest skill you can have as a maker.
Yes. Chris said, Sam's living green. Yep, usually work bedside, putting up a diode and gavel setup. Yeah. Hoofer said, just saw a video tonight that Bamboo may be coming out with a UV printer. Market's going to be flooded. Steve, you called it. You said everyone's going to do this, and
Yeah,
yeah,
as you know, the UV printer, print head, and all of the electronics around it all comes from Epson, right?
yeah,
So, what are you building when you build a UV printer? You buy an Epson package to put one together, and you put a couple of rail rods in there with some bearings and a carriage, and you're done, right?
it's basically the internals are the same. It's just being repurposed for different type of ink,
Yeah, yeah,
right? And yes, they can have different type of beds, but the motherboard, the power supply, the it's the internals are the same. Yeah.
yeah. So, and I mean, I think Epson is basically put together like a manufacturer's package for these things, right? And
Yeah, and at first they weren't happy about it. I tell you what, there was lawsuits, U.S. Some I guess I shouldn't say the name, but some of the largest distributors and printers in the United States, they got sued for millions of dollars for doing this. Um, yeah, and two big manufacturers, DTF printers, got sued big time. And they tried even trademarking the name DTF, and the United States said, "No, you can't do that."
yeah, that's a little vague for a trademark.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but they invented it, right? So, but it's
yeah.
kind of crazy.
They should have given it some buzzy marketing name, and then they could have had a
Yeah. Well, just think about back in the day when everyone used to say Xerox this instead of photocopy it or
yeah,
copy it. You know, Xerox was so known as first originally as copy machines. They got, they became the acronym, their actual name.
yeah. Well, it's like Hoover vacuums, right?
Yeah. Yeah. TTC
And
1940 said, got the mirror fixed, but now the image rotated 90 degrees to the right.
what happened, man? What happened to your setup?
Uh,
Oh, there is a swap
within the
X and
software.
Y as well in the settings.
Yeah.
Maybe X and Y are swapped.
I
Take a
saw
look.
Nancy the other day on Facebook, and
Yeah,
man, I didn't know she created content. She's got a lot of badass stuff.
yeah,
I told her she's gotta join the live one of these days.
yeah. If we can ever get her, she works during the day or something, right?
Yeah.
Or at evenings.
I just her name came to mind when said the laser was off, right? Because she was struggling so bad at that CO2, the mom port.
Yeah, yeah.
Tony said 90s back next week. Yeah.
I hope he's talking about temperature and not the actual 90s. The music in the 90s was terrible.
Yeah. Kevin said, "Hey guys in
Farmington,
Birmingham,
Mass.
Massachusetts. Hope is all well. Thanks for checking
Not
in,
too,
Kevin. Let
not
us know if
too
you have
far
any
from me.
questions." Oh, look at this. Jack
Zero.
said 0 apps.
Yeah.
All right, so 0 apps because you have TV, or are you old school with the rabbit ear antennas?
So
And are you married?
you can't use
Because
rabbit ears anymore because everybody converted to digital, right? So
yeah,
now you have to have one of these weird antennas, but you can still do an antenna. They do broadcast HD over antenna, but over
your
your
2579, your regular local channels, and they're
yeah,
HD, through the airway too.
yeah. Now they are, yeah.
Yeah. So you must not be married, I assume so, because I don't know. I'm not sure I would last too long without 0 apps in my house.
Yeah, I have like an IPTV app that I use to watch. You know, it's good if I want to watch like soap operas from Albania or something. But
I was big into that with Cody when Cody was a thing, and so you could watch, all the new movies and all that. That was cool, but they locked that down. It's not as open anymore. Chris said flooded the market like a brand of TVs. Yeah, that's going to happen. Steve, you said the X tool is making products like making appliances. and they're becoming that, and I've
Yeah,
said
well,
that.
it's like, well, like when you look at like the D1 Pro was the last of the uh, I'll say lasers that they made. Everything since then has been a toaster, right? You plug it in, you push a button, and it works. And I think like that's the Apple model, right? To this, who was I having this discussion with? And I said, to this day, Apple has never referred to an iPad as a computer, right? It's
Yeah.
an appliance of some sort, right? It's a and some kind of a experience, and that's really what Xtool is going after too.
Jack in the Shop said, "What 350 for a cow? I got, I got to know where he's at." No, I said, "For family." So you got 4 or 5 people going in on a cow. Um, yeah, I know in Wisconsin, they have these lists with the farmers, so you can get on it, and you'll wait. They'll wait for
But
3, 4, depending on how you want to split up the cost.
but in Wisconsin, isn't it just going to be like some old dairy cow?
No, no, they have. I don't know. I know they got cows there.
Yeah, I mean, I would if I was going to buy a meat cow in the U.S., I'd go to like Nebraska or something. Or
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I tell you what though, when I go to the grocery store and I buy a ground beef, and even if it's lean and it's a good supposed meat, and you cook it on the grill, and it shrinks down to half the size, you're like,
yeah,
man. But then when you get this burger that's straight from the farm, and you cook it, and it doesn't shrink at all, it's just like,
yeah, because it's made with this thing called meat, not
yeah,
fat, right?
not sawdust and fillers.
You know, you you put you
I don't
put
know
some
what they
of you
put in.
put
How it
some of
shrinks.
that grocery store ground beef on a barbecue, and it just like it catches flame like you just dropped a gallon of oil on there.
Yes.
Um, and then when you finally get the thing pulled off, it's this little nugget.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. Chris said, "Why would you want a receipt? It's hard to spell." Yeah, that's the Mexican way, man. I mean, I don't care what kind
Yeah,
of shop you want
I mean,
Mexican. They say,
I've
"How much you
done
get this done? How
I've
you
done a
paying?"
few things where I've traded services for return services.
Yeah.
Um, it's like if I need like I'm in the middle of making this big order of signs, those little warning signs that electricians stick on everything, and I needed I needed a couple of plugs put in, receptacles. I know electricians are uptight when you call them plugs. um, I needed a couple of receptacles put in my shop for 220, and I said, hey, I'll do this for you if you put those receptacles in for me. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. $22. That's what it cost him, so he's no problem.
Yeah. And I mean, it didn't cost me material wise, it didn't cost me a whole lot more than that either. So,
Yeah. Yeah, but that would have been easily $150, $200 job if you paid an electrician to
oh
come in.
yeah, yeah. I mean, normally, I mean, I would charge him, in the hundreds because he
Yeah.
always wants a big box full of
But
these things.
everyone walks away happy, and that's the
Yeah.
cool thing about it. It's like,
Well,
what do you value? Like to him, I already have the wire and I probably even have the plug. So
the
it's nothing.
government
It's
doesn't
the time.
necessarily walk away happy, but
Yeah. Yeah. Sandals Immigrant said, I heard the old man say one time, he would toss the money in the air, whatever the government got, they could keep. Yeah. They tried that. That's why they tried taxing all our cash apps, man. What the hell, man? Man, that's crazy.
yeah. These
Jack in
days,
the Shop said, oh,
if you go to a bank and you have a fistful of money, like actual cash, and you want to deposit it, if it's more than like 300-400 bucks, they ask you questions like why do you
so
have so much cash?
So, we sell all kinds of stuff, right? So, I'm the mattress money guy, right? So my daughter's getting ready to go to college. I'm like, all right. So we go to the bank with a plastic Walmart bag full of $15,000. I said, I'd like to deposit this in my daughter's name. My daughter says, you do realize you're Mexican? You're walking into a bank with a Walmart bag with $15,000, ones, fives, tens, 20s. And I says, "Do you have any idea how long it took me to save this money? How much stuff I had to make for this?" "Yeah, it's probably a lot." "Do you want this money for college?" "Yes." "Well, then shut up." Start asking me questions, right? And the lady just like, "Drrrr, drrrr, drrrr."
They just put it in the counter and
Yeah, but that was literally all my side hustle money, so it can definitely make Daniel, uh, the Bearded Viking said that one of the reasons he first started doing woodworking is his daughter going to college.
yeah,
And when he had $30,000 that he had made, that made a huge impact in him providing for his daughter for college. So I'm definitely following those footsteps, so to speak. And when you have a purpose, it definitely gives you motivation. I'd say that. You're just doing something to make money, that's one thing. When
yeah,
you're in debt up to your eyeballs and you're like, I gotta figure out how to pay this, and you already have a full-time gig, that's motivation. When you
yeah.
have some,
That's when you
you know,
realize the struggle is real, right?
yes. So when something is motivating you to do it, you're gonna be highly more motivated than just cool. It's a hobby. It's a
Yeah,
relief. It's something you're doing for fun.
yeah. And
It's
then
different.
when you get to be my age and you have a shop, half the time you do things for free. So
I posted in our Facebook group. I think it was yesterday. It said, "A year from now, you won't say it won't matter how long it took. Just the fact that you got there, right? So just
yeah,
keep on pushing.
yeah.
And that's the point exactly." Want to take this one, Steve?
Wade says we've gone up a bit, but it's still less than a cable. We got
Yeah.
three subjects going on here. Yeah, I don't know. I just the whole streaming thing. I mean, it's a good idea, but I mean, it's time for some standard streaming tool, and just all these guys plug their channels into it, just like cable used to be, right? Or television with over the air transmissions.
Chris said, "I have more streaming for the grandkids than for myself." That's what I'm saying. I have Netflix, Hulu, Disney, Amazon, HBO, Paramount, and probably more than that.
See, I had
And,
Disney
and
for a
and when
while
it hits
too,
my
and
card, I'm like, "Who the hell signed up for this?" And my daughter, "Oh, there was this season show." And then my wife, "Oh, I signed up for this." I'm like, "You guys have your own credit cards. Why does it got to hit mine?"
yeah, I had Disney for a while too, and then just went, yeah, it's not worth it.
All
So
right, Steve, this one's for
Jim
you.
says, Steve, as I said, I liked your video about multi-laser products, well, multi-tool products, I guess. Um, Clack just did one too. Oh, did he? I have no time to watch YouTube anymore. Uh, got a UV and CO2 galvo, no space for diode or CO2 gantry. Oh, that's Clack, I guess. Um, what about a combo diode fiber? Well, that's what an F2 Ultra is. Actually, is that true? An F2 is diode and fiber.
I would say,
But,
what are you
but what does
making?
that give you? Well, yeah, so a diode would give you the opportunity to work with wood and do some cutting, and the fiber would give you metal.
So
So
fibers, so yeah, fibers metal and diodes wood. So it's like which one you
yeah,
do more of?
now what you wouldn't be able to do with that combination is anything acrylic,
Right.
because fiber lasers don't really work with acrylic all that well.
Yeah. It really depends on what you're making. So
Yeah,
what do you plan to make?
and the problem
Right.
is if it's this combination in well, with the exception of the X1, it's going to be on a galvo, which means your cuttings are all going to be at weird angles anyway, right?
Yeah.
So it's not the right tool. And I had this discussion with X Tool probably a year, 2 years ago, to say, why do you keep putting diode lasers in things, right? Because you can't cut with it, because it's none of the pieces would fit together if you cut with it on a galvo. So why bother?
So I that Adam Sack craft that has the diode laser slash the IR laser, I loved it. And um the reason I like the dual laser is not that I'm using the IR laser to do something that the diode laser like. The reason I like it is because I can create a like 3D relief, like a false um hologram slash graphic. It looks like it's kind of coming off the. When you do
Yeah.
laser engraving, it looks flat, doesn't look three-dimensional, right? But I can do with a dual laser and kind of like a shadow effect with the IR laser within certain like offset of the other laser, and it creates this like three-dimensional look that looks like CNC'd. When I made those crosses on there, the first thing everyone does when they see them is they touch them because they're
Yeah.
expecting it to be like raised, and when it's completely flat, they're like, "What?" Matter of fact, uh, when I saw the people start to make them, it wasn't my original design. The people were saying the same exact thing. Like, I cannot believe this is flat, but because the dual laser, it can kind of trick things. Yeah, that hologram look that was cool
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah, it's like the realism period in art, right? Where
Yes.
you see these things, and I don't know if you've ever been to Italy, to Rome. Uh, I went to the Vatican. Now I'm not Catholic, so I didn't get a religious experience out of it, but I did get an art experience because between the museum, the Vatican Museum, and the Sistine Chapel, there's this long hallway, and the ceilings are about 30 feet up. But when you look at the ceiling, you see what looked like a whole bunch of wood, wood put on the ceiling, like moldings. And then you look
Hmm.
at it and you go, wait a minute, that's paint. Like, it's a flat
Right.
painting. And that's what
It's crazy.
you're doing with this realist look on lasers too, right? It's one of
Yeah,
those techniques that never dies.
yeah. It's absolutely insane. Like, it's crazy. And I'm using like quarter inch. Was that birch plywood?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or
And
basswood or something.
yeah, but the point is, it's that thin, but it looks definitely number three-dimensional.
Yeah,
Tim said another point, the X1, like you guys said, it is smart to cut and burn the same space you have a UV and a fiber laser.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's actually a question: is it smart? So,
Mm.
um, in general, if there's lasers in the box, it doesn't really matter what kind of laser it is. It gets weird when it's a CNC versus with a laser, or like in the case of bamboo, a 3D printer with a laser. Like, those things are just two opposite ends of a line, right?
Yeah.
Um, like, you really don't want to try and lay down a bunch of plastic on some bed that is full of dust, right? Because it's been blowing around inside because you cut
So
something
to
with a
me, a
laser.
UV and a fiber is still a fiber laser. And like you want to argue with me that what I'm saying is a lens, right? To me, what really would be the difference is like a UV and a fiber with a diode. Because when you start cutting wood and that creates that soot, now you're getting the lens dirty. And then that could affect your fiber cut.
Yeah,
But they
now
should probably have an extraction
you can
system.
solve that with ventilation, with the right
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, that's what I
ventilation.
said. They probably have an extraction system. But
Yeah.
but that's the only thing I could see. Like if I
And
want to play
and
devil's
and
advocate,
that would assume that all of those lasers are in the box at the same time, right? Maybe they're not. Who knows?
yes, agreed. No, I'm saying like if you were using the same piece and you were going between one item to the one module to the next, and keep them using the same enclosure, or if they could be connected at the same time, that'd be a problem too.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
anyway, I mean, there's lots to find out over the next little while, but these are the kinds of questions that are going to come up, right?
All right. One more question is, has anyone tried making product packaging? I
Yes.
printed on cardstock and using my UFI one, and printed a raised scoring die. Then took it to Raleigh to cut over the. Yes.
Yeah, I did a video on this probably 2 years ago now on making, using cardstock to make boxes. So, like, if I ever print things like metal business cards, I'll always put them in a nice little cardboard box. And I start from a flat piece of cardstock, cut out a box, fold it up, and glue it together, and then put the cards in it. And I usually will put my logo or something on the outside. So yeah, you can do this. I mean,
I'm
I
gonna be
didn't.
honest.
Last one
I'm
I
not
made, I
too
didn't even
fancy.
have a UV printer, so anything that was on it was engraved with a laser. But
I'm not too fancy when it comes to shipping. It's very minimal. I'm not saying it's not packed well, it's not packed safely, but it just nothing, no frizzles, right? Like I got a package from Skylar, and I was like, I wanted to do an unboxing video, like you know what I mean? Like it was like this
yeah,
is from
it
Skylar.
depends on what it is. Like if I were to make a cutting board. So these charcuterie boards, I haven't made one in a long time, but I used to make a lot of those, and then I'd cut out a piece of foam that the thing just fit into. It was like a vacuum
Yep.
fit. You can do that because it's done on a
Yeah.
CNC, so you've got the outline of the board. You can just put a piece of
Yep.
foam down and on a laser and cut that same shape, right?
Yep. And
Um,
I saved those for that exact reason. I literally have like a box that I save all that foam, put it in,
yeah, and then you
and I
don't
use
use
it
it.
for shipping stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if it's just like mostly now, it's a lot of signs I make, so there's no point in putting it in fancy packaging because it's never
Yeah,
going to
Skylar
see
had like a card, and she had like a thank you handwritten in, and I mean it was
Skylar's
over
an
the top.
artist. We can't compete
Yes,
with her.
yes. And like I said, you get mine when you get my package, it looks like it came from Amazon. You get a really nice box, you get it packed well, and that's about it.
Yeah,
But I
but
occasionally do write handwritten letters thanking you
yeah,
though.
but anyway, if you dig back in my project playlist, you'll see where I made a bunch of these boxes. It was at least a year ago. Prism
Prison
Print
Prince
is
said, hello,
back.
hello.
Prism Print missed you last week.
Yeah. Tim said, is that the Roland BN230? Yes, it is. And then that's my Hydronics. And then that's an Epson, what is it, a 5107? It's a large format sublimation printer. It's not a converter, it's actually straight from Epson. It's sublimation printer. And then, yeah, this is my print room. So I have all rolls of vinyl here and more rolls of vinyl there. And yeah,
So I have the roll film cartridge for the '01 coming, and
that's printed on that printer.
yeah, nice.
That's on paper. That's on photo matte paper. I'm covering it because I have a really bright light above my head. As you can see, my head's shining. Here's some stickers. It looks kind of dark, but it's not. It's just the lighting is not the greatest in here. Oh wow, it automatically adjusted. It's not there you go. Yeah.
Your
It
lights
auto
are too
adjusted.
smart for you.
But yeah, that printer, so I've been printing a lot of posters lately.
Posters or coasters?
Posters. No, like look.
Yeah. Okay, posters. Yeah, that makes sense. See, that's the kind of stuff you're not going to do on an X201 or a E1.
Yeah, so that's a 24 by 36 poster. And what's cool is that, you know, it's not cheap paper. That's actually matte photo paper. So I can put a lot of ink down and the picture looks amazing. Like that's a picture of him. This was like the demo. And when you look at his hand, like you could see the reflection of his hand. Like it looks pretty awesome.
Sweet.
So yeah, and we all talk about it. You can't let a printer sit, right? Um, for one, an idle printer doesn't make you any money, but for two, an idle printer will cost you money in two different
Yeah.
ways. Either one, you're just dumping ink out, right? Or two, you're going to ruin something.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about those posters is when I'm not running something, I run those posters.
A few people over the last couple of weeks have asked me about, the best thing to do with your print head if you have a UV printer. And, should I, use it sparingly or whatever? I said, no, a print head will last longer if you use it more.
If you don't use your printer all the time, you have to wet cap it.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're not gonna
Well, at the very least, every couple of days, you got to do some little print on it or something just to keep the head.
They sell a solution that you can literally do a couple drops on the when your print head comes over, when it rests down, that little area that it sits on top of, you do 3 little drops of the solution, and when it sits on there, it's going to keep the moisture on there, and you're good. And I'm not saying don't do your regular maintenance, but if you know you're not going to use your printer more than 3 days, 5 days, 3 little drops of that solution. I mean, you're going to buy a $30 bottle. You'll never use the whole thing because you're using 3 drops at a time, right?
Yeah.
But it's definitely worth it. Yeah. So that printer can print on paper, obviously. It's a printer and cutter, so I can cut anything in vinyl, and I can print directly on banners. I can print directly on magnets. So it's pretty versatile. So, and it's pretty. It doesn't look as big in this photo, but it's in this video. But it's pretty huge. It's a almost 53 inches wide. So it's a pretty big printer. Takes a lot of table space, so to speak. Yeah.
See, that's really why your wife wants you to sell it.
What's that?
That's really why your wife wants you to sell it. Takes too much room.
No, I have a bigger one. So I have a 54-inch one, print cuttable. Like, so if you think about it, if the roll can be 54 inches, you got a foot on each side.
Yeah.
that houses that. That thing is huge. Well, and then I have a laminating machine over here, right there. It's a laminating machine for the rolls. So if I print stickers, like this, I can laminate it. The problem is that vinyl, in most cases, it's rated by years, right? Like how long the vinyl is going to last. And then on top of that, it's going to have another rating. How long is the ink going to last on that vinyl? And most of the time when you go above 5 years, the vinyl's thinner. So since the vinyl's thinner, it's just kind of if you're not a professional installing it, people struggle with it because it's so like floppy.
Get air bubbles in it.
Yeah. So even though you have it's like a rapid release, it's some weird technology. When you press on it, it's supposed to allow the air to come through before the glue actually starts to activate and not allow that bubble to come through. It's problematic unless you're a professional installing. No big deal. You wrap vehicles, no big deal. You actually would love that thinner vinyl.
Yeah, but the guys who put vinyl on cars, they spray like soapy water on the thing first, right, and then they can slide it around if they need to.
Yeah, two different things. You use like a degreaser.
Yeah,
like it's a chemical that strips all kind of chemicals off of it.
It strips all the wax and stuff off first.
Right, and then there's another chemical that basically allows you to slip it all over, kind of like when you're tinning windows with baby soap. But it also has an activator. Once you squeegee it out, it almost dries it right away. It actually makes the glue work better than had you not used it. So. But the solution is expensive too. Like I remember my sister owns a catering company, and she has these windows that are like 25 feet tall and like 8 feet wide, right? And she has like 15 windows. And she says, "Can you tint these?" And I said, "Oh my God, like, do you have any idea how expensive the tint's going to be for that wide? Are you not wanting to see through them?" She said, "No." I said, "Well, why don't we just put black vinyl over the top of it?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "What? If the purpose was for privacy to make it pitch black. If we put black vinyl, it's you ain't seeing through that." And that was crazy. But the reason I brought that up was because cleaning. It took me a day and a half to clean those windows before I could even do anything. And she was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "No, like if it's dirty, it's not gonna stick." Like, so with their razor blade and cleaning with chemicals, and it was crazy. Big job. A couple different people recently been sending me emails asking about Roger. Actually, talked to him the other day. He was sending me some funny joke, unappropriate jokes, guy things, and I laughed and I just checked him. Said, "How you doing, brothers? How's everything going?" He said it's everyone high and he's doing well. He's just still focusing on his healing of his heart, so to speak. So give him time, guys. Give him time. He's dealing with a big loss. So lost the love of his life, his wife. So Santa's living great and said, "Gotta jump off now. Everyone have a good evening. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you in the
Thanks,
live.
Kevin.
Thanks for joining. Thanks for doing all your posts recently on the Facebook group too, guys. If you're a member of the Facebook group, you're seeing a lot of people, a lot of noobs starting to join the lives, and they're asking, "What should we be making?" Um, I encourage everyone to share some of the things that you're making. Not only share some of the things you're making, but share some of the things you absolutely failed at, did horrible at, decided not to make. Share those too, because that's encouraging to someone that near the YouTube magic, everything doesn't always work. There's no easy button. Sometimes you fail.
I,
Sometimes
I,
it's a bad idea. Or
I,
sometimes, like Steve said, he's made mistakes and then going forward, that's how he made them, right?
yeah,
I haven't
sometimes
been
they're
that
happy
bad yet.
accidents, but I, I,
Yeah.
I could have brought one tonight to show off. I was playing with this Genmitsu Prover XL 2x2 CNC, and I started a job, and the bit went in, and it started to move, and the material moved with it. It's like,
Oh,
okay, this isn't good.
I've
So
had I've had good
I
luck
just
with
looked at it and went firewood off of
I've
it.
had good luck with that double-sided sticky tape, but it's actually for woodworking. The only thing is that uh, I'm not sure that that's like a good solution long term because it's just so expensive. Like it
Yeah,
was just something that I bought because I really wasn't sure what I was going to use. So it does definitely work, but it's really expensive.
yeah, and I mean, you
Um,
use a lot of it, right? I mean, every time you put a piece down, it's there goes another 10 feet of it, right?
right. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
So I'm curious, guys. As people with
uh,
CNCs, how are you holding your pieces down to your spoil boards? What is your secret? Are you screwing it down? Are you using a finish nailer? I've seen a lot of people using finish nailers. I don't know about that one. Um,
yeah, I don't
are
know with
you
that one.
using CA glue and the old double tape on both sides, or using double-sided sticky tape? What is your go-to when it comes to
Yeah,
attaching to your
I
spoil board?
use blue tape most of the time.
Yeah,
But
I may be
in this case, I had used the clamps that came with the CNC,
okay.
and I just didn't have enough of them, or didn't have them clamped down properly, or something, and it just kind of moved, just went off with the hand.
So one of the things I wanted to try is once I have to fix my 3D printer this weekend. Is I want to make some those clamps for the CNC that actually
Yeah,
goes in the grooves.
yeah,
I haven't done that yet, so I want to make some of those. Radui said I try to make things idiot proof, but they keep making better idiots.
See, I used to have this sign on my office door, and the company made me take it down.
What did it say?
It
It
said
said
this.
that.
It said well, in software back in my day, in software we used to call it idiot proofing. Now they call it user experience. But um, and I had a sign there that said, as no matter how idiot proof we can make software, the world will keep making better idiots.
You want to take this one, Steve?
Gary says, what intrigues me most about flying Galvo is you get the best of both worlds, speed of Galvo and the bed size of a CO2. Yeah. The question is, do you get the worst of both worlds too? Right. Um, in premise, this should be pretty cool, right? Because you can move the head over to roughly where you need to be, and then you can use a Galvo to just kind of quickly go on something.
So I'm angered people by my comment. I see the need. I see the purpose. I don't want it.
Hey,
I want the space, so I want the functionality, but I love the fact that I think I'd want it if I was just starting. But now that I'm ready, I already kind of have everything that I need. I don't think I would get it to make space, if that makes sense. Because I like the fact that one of my fiber lasers is set up only for challenge coins. I'll have to set it, everything's jigged, throw a coin on there. That's all that fiber laser does. I know, so I kind of like that I purposed certain lasers throughout my shop, because you know but I definitely think when you're starting off, you're not going to go buy three fiber lasers. So you're not going to go buy two CO2 lasers. You're not going to go buy four diode lasers. So and that's what I'm having now, or three CNCs. But so I see the need. But I'm saying when you start to get established and you have all these, I don't know. I think to me it'd be a hard sell to convince me to get rid of my equipment and to be solely on that. I don't know that I
yeah,
would.
I get it. But the one thing and the point Gary's making here is if you need to make use a UV laser to make a really big graphic, you can't do
Yeah,
that any other way, right? This is the
yeah,
way right here.
agreed. Agreed. Yeah, that would be the only way because you have only a little small little space.
Yeah, now you can move it over and hope like hell that you get everything lined
Yeah,
up,
that would never work. Yeah,
but this way that problem is solved. So from that perspective, this is an enabler, right? It allows you to do
right.
something you couldn't do before. um,
I've been seeing lately people making jeans with them. They set down a pair of jeans and they take a UV laser and they do this like embossment, like
yeah,
fading slash even to the point that it makes them shredded, makes it look like they slit it because they must be changing, you
yeah, or
know,
they engrave patterns on the denim.
yeah, yeah, but
Like,
like they're taking like regular denim dark jeans and then make them look like, you know fancy looking expensive,
yeah,
jeans.
you can use a UV laser to put a paisley pattern on your dark jeans.
Yeah,
Why? I
I
don't
actually
know,
thought it
but
looked pretty
somebody
cool.
would want
I
that, I'm sure.
I thought it looked pretty cool. I saw they're doing it, and even like creating like on your inner thigh, like on the front side of your thigh, like faded, and even the outside dark. Like they're creating these like shaded patterns that you probably couldn't do other ways with dyeing or bleaching.
Yeah.
So it
Well,
was
this is
pretty
the
cool.
thing, right? You come up with a tool like this. So let's say the X1 does exactly this. Um, those of us who will say old school, we work in a certain way, we have a certain workflow, and we'll look at this and scoff. But somebody will come up with an idea that you go, wow, I never saw that coming, right? Look what's happening in the UV space. Look at the crazy things that people are building, like
Yeah,
with UV printers now, right? Um, you know, anybody who in from 5 years ago who used a UV printer, their big job was to print a sticker, right, or print a label on something. And now people are doing just crazy ass things. So
David said finally made it. What do they say? Better late than never. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you. Let us know if you have any questions.
yeah, he's not that late.
All right, you want to take this one, Steve?
Chris says it's usually cheaper to buy the tool in a kit than a battery and a charger. Yeah, this is the case with Ego lawn equipment, right? The batteries are just insane if you buy them on their own.
Yes.
In some cases, if you want a big battery, you're better to buy the whole machine, keep the battery, and throw the rest of it away
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
because
the
it's
batteries
cheaper.
are definitely discounted buying the tool,
Oh yeah,
but
big time.
if you don't need a battery, the tool is so cheap without it, right? But
Yes,
if you're building that, and I think that's how like I don't think, and now I'm a DeWalt guy. I don't think that there's like I don't think you could put a DeWalt in Milwaukee head to head and say this one's definitely 100% better. No, I think that they're neck and neck, and every now and then they have something new that the other one doesn't have yet, and then eventually they both have it, right? And I think they're both awesome tools. But once you start down that rabbit hole, you're never gonna switch. They got you for a customer for life because the batteries are so
Yeah,
expensive.
you got the hook.
That's it. Like oh, Milwaukee has it, Dwarf don't have it. I guess I have to wait till it comes out. You're not gonna go buy Milwaukee because you're not gonna buy new batteries. Like you
There's,
just ain't gonna
I
have it.
thought I saw some company making adapters for
I
all the
seen them, but I
tools,
think that just
and
has
then
to
you
be
have one common battery for all tools.
yeah. I don't know, and it's big and janky, and it's on. It's
Well,
like
no, the one I
the
saw
batteries
was
are big as it is.
it was just a slim, like a shim you put between the
Yeah,
battery and the tool.
I have one. Yeah, I bought one because I wanted to try to convert one of my son's Power Wheels to 60-volt flex batteries. And we thought that's cool. But
Didn't work out.
yeah, he's got a need for speed, that kid. Yeah. So we are Tractor Supply sponsors now. So we got a Coleman go kart, and about 3 weeks in, he's kind of bored. So we did the governor deletes on the pedal, uh, fuel linkage, motor. That thing now flies. He can rooster tail while he's taking off. So it's crazy. He's gone. Prism Prince said, "You review and the company gives you extra products to give away." Um, there's always negotiations when these people do. There's compensation, right? And let's just say that if they're selling something for $1,000, like what do you think it costs them? $300? Come on, they're in business to make money, right? Especially because they're mass producing these. So sometimes when they offer me something, I don't feel that the compensation they're offering is worth my time. And not being like snobby, like worth my time. But creating a video is a lot, right, Steve? I mean, just creating the video itself, not to mention all the equipment you're using, like the cameras, the lighting, your
my,
computer, Adobe, the
my new
editing, like
computer Dolly.
yeah, I mean, just there's a lot that goes into creating and editing and posting and promoting your video. So if they don't have it in their budget, so to speak, to compensate me what I think is fair, then I want to help you. And at the end of the day, like them giving me 3 printers is nothing because it costs them nothing. So that's my new pitch now. They go back and forth and they try to lowball me, and I say, hey, you know what? If you'll give me 3 of these, I'll do it. And I'm going to pick their top tier, whatever they're selling, in their entry levels, right? On 3 of them. And I'm just going to start giving away to you guys. I know there's a lot of people who watch our lives and they're learning, uh, and they're trying to make educated, smart decisions, and they're maybe not ready yet to make the purchase. And you know what? Don't ever try to keep up with the Joneses. Don't buy something because somebody else has it. Be ready when you're ready. But sometimes you got to take a leap of faith. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is, don't spend money you can't afford to spend. Don't spend money putting it on a credit card with assumptions it's going to pay itself off, because chances are it's not when that credit card's due. Eventually it will, but not immediately.
I
So
was when I did this 7 tools video I just finished. I was waiting for somebody to complain about, yeah, sure, you used $20,000 worth of tools to make this thing, right? That wasn't the intent, right?
right,
And I purposely said, well, if you don't want to spend this money or you don't have this money, buy it, do this first, right? Do it this way.
right,
Um, because I didn't want to come off as just some ass, right? That where,
yeah,
I didn't want to be like Norm Abrams from the New Yankee Workshop, right? Not New Yankee. What was his? They used to have on PBS. They used to have the guy who had like everything was a tool that was 200 years old, and then right after him they had Norm Abram, who had every power tool known to man, right? And it was just like, who knew there was a specialized tool for making corkscrews or whatever? Like, it's just
Tim the Toolman Taylor. He's man. I would love to meet that man. I tell you what. You guys know how to get him on our live. Let us know. I loved watching his as a kid growing up. Yeah.
more power. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But exactly that, Steve. So exactly what you're just saying, that, you can get, in a comfort zone to the things you have, and you have to have humble beginnings and remember where you started, right? So it's easy to say, "Oh, well, I wouldn't buy that," or "Oh, I wouldn't take that," because you have a $20,000 whatever, right? But you got to remember, like, I remember when I first bought my first table saw. Like, table saw is not expensive. That was like such an accomplishment to me. I was like, oh, other people come over. I'm like, look, you want to come downstairs? And it
my
was just a
my
plywood
first
table with a table saw. But I was so proud of that table saw. You
when
know?
I first started, my first table saw was just one of those contractor saws, and
Yeah.
I think it was like $500 or something.
Yeah.
And I look at it now and go, yeah, that wasn't expensive. But when I bought it, it was like, okay, now I'm not going to eat this week, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And now
No.
I've got this awesome saw stop. Speaking of saw stop, they just announced a bandsaw.
Oh wow.
I just saw it
Okay.
pop up today. I'm seriously thinking of buying one because one of the reasons I don't have a bandsaw in my shop is I'm afraid I'm going to chop my finger off.
I so two tools I always wanted that I wouldn't use all the time. It'd sit more than it would be used, but it's one of those tools that when you have it, you're thankful you have it, right? And one was the drill press, and the other one was that saw. And I
Yeah.
went back and forth and back and forth. And I went with the drill press. And again, is it a tool I use every single day? No. Is it a tool I use every single week? No. But it's a tool that when I have it, man,
Yeah.
I'm saving my fingers, right?
Yeah, if you
Right.
want to punch a hole through something and want it to be square, it's the right way to go, right?
Right.
Um,
Or if or I create jigs now. Like, so if I'm gonna do mass produce something, I can just burn, 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 burn. I'm not there with a drill, and you know,
yeah,
it's
anything like that, I use a 3D printer for now, but
yeah,
because I
yeah,
have one. That's the only reason I do it is if I have it. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I was the same way. I have a drill press. I don't use it often, but when I do, there's nothing else I could use to do it, right?
Right.
It, but I've always wanted a bandsaw, and now I see SawStop has one. So there's one that will help me not cut my hand off or something. Because bandsaws are surprisingly dangerous, right? Like you look at them
They
and
look very intimidating, right? And
you
it's
got
like
like a foot
not
of
forgiving,
blade
like
there
whoop.
just spinning away, right? It's like,
Yeah, no, that not forgiving. You watch some of Daniel's videos and the stuff he does with a bandsaw, and he says right away stuff he does with a chop saw.
yeah,
He's like, if you're not really comfortable with this, don't do this. Like when I copied Daniel's build when he made that Christmas tree,
yeah,
and I had to one up him because he one up somebody else. It wasn't his original design. And my last cut was 1 inch by 1 inch with a 45 on all sides. And I did that on, I did that and I was like, oh man. So I bought that like jig that you can set down and
yeah.
you can adjust it like to level so your hands are out of the way.
Yeah, for that I would probably use a disc sander or something rather than the table saw.
But, but yeah, but I did. It came out great. I kept all my fingers, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah,
So,
no, that's
so
not
yeah,
good.
so prison print to make it to a long-winded answer is absolutely, and I do it just because I appreciate everyone who follows us. I appreciate everyone, and I know the struggle, and I'm still going through the struggle. By any means, I'm not independently wealthy by any means, and every dollar I make goes right back into what I'm creating. Um, and that's at this point in time, it doesn't pay the bills, so to speak, right? I still have to have a full-time job. I love it that I was at a point that uh, I wouldn't have to work. I was working for insurance, right? And that the government was staying out of my money, and I was able to do this kind of thing. I'd like to, and I think I will get to that point, but I'm still growing, and in that growing, I'm still reflecting and remembering that you know the struggle is real. Growing and starting. So at any point that I can give back, reach back, and give away, I'm gonna do so.
Yeah, well, I would give lots of things away, but it's so brutal to get
Canada,
things across the border now, right?
yeah,
Um, Plus, most of what I've found is as my channel has grown, the size and weight of the products I review has also grown. And I had some company, they sent me, who was it? Alien Cell, I think, sent me a couple of X1s, and I got rid of one of them because it was like I have too many of them. And I had another one, and they said, "Can you ship it to this YouTuber?" And he was only like, I don't know, 200 miles from me, and they wanted some crazy, like the price of the laser to ship it to him,
Yeah.
and they said, just forget it. So I still have this thing sitting in my shop, and I would, if somebody came in and handed me a fistful of cash, it would be gone for sure, brand new in the box, never plugged it in,
That's crazy.
and it's just in the way right now. So
Chris said too many people buy a tool before they know what to make. I buy a tool that can build what I want to make and sell. 100% smart.
yeah, that's the best way to go for sure. And I mean, we've
100.
all done it, right? We've all bought a tool. Oh, it was on sale. And I mean, look at Rick's DeWalt wall, right? For examples, you buy it because it's on sale or something, and then you go, okay, you look at it for a while and go, okay, what am I going to make with this? Right? It happens, but in general,
Yeah.
the best way is I'm
If the wall
working
makes it,
with a lot of rough wood. So hey, I need a planer or whatever, right? You do it by hand for a while, and then you go, okay, I can't do it this way anymore, and you go buy the right tool sometimes.
so question for the audience: what is a tool that you purchased you thought you'd use all the time, you didn't use it, and you're not using it? Or what is a tool that you purchase you don't use all the time, but you're glad you have it? I'm just curious. Let us know. TTC 1940 said having gavels in itself very limited.
Yeah, it limits the kinds of things you can make for sure, right? Because you're limited to a couple 100 millimeters at most.
Chris said this very well. Be a maker, not a supermarket.
Yes.
When you start spreading yourself too thin, trying to make everything, I think you kind of lose yourself and you lose your customer base.
Yeah. Now the one, it's not really an exception, but where this becomes less true is if you just want to try things, right? Like I do a lot of stuff. It's like, I'm never going to make these to sell, but I'd really like to know how to do that. Right. Once you start doing inlay, and now Skylar's totally hooked on inlay, right? But she does inlay a lot now, and I don't think that was ever her original intent, but she tried it once and went, wow, this is kind of cool. So
yeah, but like I said, and I'm contradicting myself in saying don't be the supermarket when I say jump on the bandwagons of seasonal items.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that because it's a small window of opportunity to make a ton of money on something. And it's not your norm. It's not something you do every day, but you'll make money. That's why every big box store does it, right? You don't walk in any store on Halloween, whether it's a grocery store or Ace Hardware. They all have things that are Halloween related, right? That's for a reason, because it's going to sell.
Yeah.
You want to take this one?
Chris says manufacturers work opposite to makers. They see someone make money, so they make their own version of it and still can make some money. Yeah. And this kind of gets back to what does a maker actually add to something, right? Like you can go to Walmart and you can buy one of a million things they have sitting in a bin, and it'll be $5. Or you can go to a maker and he'll go, well, that'll be $25. But what they're putting into it is experience and passion and emotion and all the things that make it a piece of art, right? Sometimes. And that's the thing you just won't get from, as Chris says, a manufacturer.
The other thing is that you have to not try to put yourself in the same limelight as a manufacturer. And the reason is I'm gonna make fun of myself in this. The birdhouse, when I was downstairs in the shop, a lot of times people saw the birdhouse. And Roger was very successful at selling these birdhouses. And when I priced it, I think it took 8 months for the birdhouse to sell. And someone said, let me see the birdhouse. And they looked at it and they says, dude, if you are a roofer and you looked at this, you built this roof It has shingles. It has a roof. Like, it looks legit. He says, "Do you know the reason it's not selling? It's because you're selling it too cheap.
Yeah,
I
not
bet if you
charging
put this
enough.
birdhouse for $125, it's going to sell." And guess what happened? It's sold, like, right away. But
Yeah,
to me, I'm thinking $45. Who's going to pay more than $45 for a birdhouse?
someone who wants to be the only person who has one.
$125 and sold in 3
Yeah.
days. Like,
And
what?
back to our previous question about how you build up your business. And I've said it before, and I always say it apologetically. I don't sell things to people who shop at Walmart. Not
Yeah,
because I'm judging their financial situation or anything. It's because when you shop at Walmart, you're after a certain thing, and that's
right,
not the thing I want to make. Right? You're
right,
hunting for price,
right.
and I don't make things for $1.59. Right? It's you know
Yeah,
yeah, you can. Some of the things I make, you can, like a cribbage board, right? I can sell a cribbage board for $250. You can buy one for $8 at a dollar store, right? Or $5. um, you can, does the same job, but it's not the same.
Speaking of, you reminding me of something, Steve. Aldi's, if you guys are in the States, Aldi's has their cutting boards right now, guys. They're like $8. Go buy yourself a bamboo, really nice cutting board and laser engrave it and sell it for $50 to $65. When I send my wife to Aldi's, I tell her to buy them all. Meaning, if it's a pallet or if it's 12, buy them all, right? And they sell.
Yeah,
And if you get, like, put it this way, if you sold one for $65 and they only cost you $8, how many do you have to sell until basically you're broke even? And now anything after that is profit, right? So I think I have 3 left from last year. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
after the first 3, I made all my money back. You know what I mean?
Every once in a
So
while, I've seen you go into like these they're hardware stores, but they sell kitchenwares and stuff, and they'll sell these um, cutting boards, and you look at them and you go, "This is olive wood," and they're selling it for like $5, right? And it's like,
yeah,
okay, I'm going to buy some of these. Um, it's not like, because they sell a lot of the basic bamboo ones, right? I mean, they're coming straight out
mm,
of China, and they're scrap wood essentially, right? Um, but olive wood is never scrap wood, but you see them every once in a while. You'll see these bamboo cutting boards, and they're dirt cheap for some reason.
yeah. Chris said I just made some coasters for a car detailer. Yeah, so you never know.
Yep.
It's not just bar owners.
So the more important thing there is you can then go back to them and say, hey, you need, graphics, you need whatever, right? You can sell them things now, right?
You
It's the
said you
foot in
sold
the
in
door.
Cork. So I had one of our subscribers. It's funny because I think we talked about it the other week and said, Rick, do you still have a surplus of slate coasters? I'm not too far from you. I'd like to, if you're willing to, you can unload some and I'll buy them. And I says, I'll be honest with you. Like, before all this tariffs, I bought 5,000 coasters. So at this point, at the amount of coasters that I make that might be a lifetime's worth of coasters,
At least.
but they're 5 times the price right now. So, like, I'd be dumb to sell them. Like, unless I was selling to make money. Like, I wouldn't. It'd make no sense for me to sell them to break even. Like, there's so much profit to be made every time that I sell one.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
if you sell 1,000 of them, the remaining 4,000 are free, right?
yeah, but they know what I paid for them, so that's what they want to pay me.
Not
You know
because
what I
you
mean?
tell everybody on a live stream.
Yeah, I was being honest because I was telling them to buy it before I knew that was
but
coming.
but it doesn't matter what you paid for them; it's what they're worth, right?
Exactly. Exactly. But I was trying to tell everyone these tariffs are coming. These tariffs are coming. Some of these consumables and some of these items, buy them now. Buy them now. Look, coasters are expensive. TC 1940 said plus in diameter with a finger cutout.
Yeah, you skipped, like,
Something.
he sent 3 messages there that all need to be
Yeah,
put together, I
back to
think.
back. I think he's talking about something that he was making. Steve, you want to take this one?
Roy says, I tip the tellers with woodworking items when I bring a stack of cash to the bank. Well, I don't.
You giving a wooden nickel?
Do you have to tip a teller? But
I wonder if they call the cops on you if you gave them wooden nickel.
I guess if you do, great.
Yeah.
I've given people cutting boards just for coming into my shop. It's like, here's this nice 2-inch thick cutting board. I don't need it.
There you go.
Is there info on how to do the holographic effect? You mean the 3D laser engraving effect?
3D relief? You know what? I created a cheat sheet that I took some screenshots when my light burn settings. I do that all the time so I can duplicate my settings. I'm going to tell you what we always say. Every laser is different. Every piece of material is different. So I can tell you what I used, and you may have to, adjust from there. But at least it would give you a starting point. But I would say that kind of like Skylar, how she's hooked into doing all this inlays now. Once you start doing that holographic effect, it's insane. I went down that rabbit hole for a while. I kind of forgot how other lasers because I was so amazed on how that looked. I started making huge the Last Meal, Last Supper laser engravings, and oh man, the things you can make with that are just insane. It's insane. So yes, I'll drop the link in our Facebook group. If you're not already a member of our Facebook group, I suggest you join. If you look at the ticker at the bottom, it actually shows it. It's here. It's about to show up. There it is. ShopTopLive.club. It's not a website. It's actually just a URL forward to our Facebook group, so you don't have this big long URL to find us. ShopTalkLive.club. Go to there. I will drop a link to some of the artwork from the person who's selling some artwork. He even supports it and gives suggestions on different lasers. Extremely knowledgeable person. But it is insane using the dual lasers and creating this holograph effect. Yeah, it's amazing. It's crazy.
Chris says Xtool has the right idea. The software sets up the job so you can move the job from one machine to the next. Yeah, I've been meaning to do a video on this specifically for the 01 in conjunction with if you have a P2S or something. But the real message here is, and this is one of the reasons why Xtool is clobbering everybody else, right, is Xtool Studio. Is it the best design tool? There's still people who will argue Lightburn is better. I don't think so, but there are other tools. But what makes this one the best is the fact that if I buy into the Xtool experience, I have one tool that does everything. And now they're taking it to the next step with this latest release they just did, where you can print on an O2 or an O1 and then just literally drop it into your fiber or your CO2 laser, and it'll cut it out. You don't have to align anything. You don't have to do anything. You just drop it in there and push the start button. And that makes it pretty cool. No one else is doing that. And that's why they're going to win, I think.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that's cool. That it's also one less learning tool you need to feel comfortable in, because if you already know the software, and I would agree that there'd be differences within the lasers, like available features, but the basic layout and how to use it, it's less intimidating to already know the software than just add additional features.
What I like about it is I can take a design and I can, print it in color on an O1, but then I can take the same design and drop it onto a metal fab and cut out metal with the same design.
Yeah,
and
pretty cool.
All I have to do is switch lasers, right? And or switch tools and push the start button. And
Chris said the rule is if you hoard it, you never use it. If you don't,
you'll be hunting for it.
You will be hunting for it. That's why I did the wall. You made fun of me with the DeWalt wall, because when I was in the field, all my tools were in those DeWalt Tough boxes, which are phenomenal in your truck. Keep everything organized. You're able to carry them down the street, go wherever you need to go. But if you're in your home or a place of business and they're stationary, so to speak, you're not moving them around. It's just a pain in the butt to always pull them out. So when I finally got the 3D printer to create that wall, something I've always wanted. Every time I've ever seen one of those type of walls in a picture or someone's videos, I always just thought they looked amazing. And obviously with a 3D printer, only when it's fairly inexpensive, was next to nothing to make. And then being able to just like even just look at the wall and I know a tool's missing, like, where's my drill? Hey, why is the drill missing? Hey, where's one of my batteries? My daughter, I was using a shop vac, and but or just not to look for your tools, and it keeps organized. I love it.
Yeah, anybody I've seen who has a truck full of tools or a van or something, inevitably they go, "Oh, I know I have one. I got one of these somewhere," and they start digging in their back of their van, and shit's coming down like, and they finally just go, "Forget it. I know it's there somewhere."
Yeah, so the wall came in handy. I like it. Tim said Ricky bought the BN30 today. Yeah. So Tim said, "Crap, need to sell some stuff before it arrives." Yeah.
Well, don't you have an O1 arriving too, Tim? You can store that at my place. I wouldn't mind a second one.
Chris said, "Rick, if you sell the big machine, you'll have room to put 2 or 3 new machines." Yeah, I know. I think I'm gonna put it on Facebook Marketplace this weekend. So just get rid of it. But that, and I have a 4-color silk screen machine. So for 4 presses, spins. Sell that too. But first, when I start doing shirts, I start doing silk screen. The cool thing about silk screens, it's not hard and they last. So
Yeah.
when you're first learning DTF, you can mess them up as far as durability, right? You can mess them up and you don't do something right, and they don't last. Somebody washes and it comes off, or you have problems. But silk screen is like, it's pretty hard to mess up. It's and it's extremely durable and it's extremely inexpensive. So
It's more
that's how
like
I started.
paint, right?
Yeah, thick.
Yeah.
It's thick. Yeah. So and in silk screen, people think less is more, right? Like you kind of want it really thin, and you want it to push into the fibers. If it's too thick, it can crack. So it seems like you're being stingy with the ink, but being stingy actually and pushing hard is actually really good. Razor Ray, what's going on, brother? Said CNC, I use a vacuum or Tailor Tools double-sided sticky tape for small parts. I think the vacuum's awesome, but to me, it's like so expensive. I'd be so mad at myself if I want burnt. You have an Airtable, right? Right, Steve?
No, I don't. I've
Oh,
been
I thought you
thinking
did
of
for some.
building one, but I don't have one.
That would just be, man. That would just be my luck, man. I think it looks so cool, so awesome. I love the concept, but just it's expensive and you screwed up. You got no one but to blame but
Yeah,
yourself.
you'd still be double siding your piece of material to a piece of 1/2 inch plywood that you're vacuuming onto the table so you don't cut through.
You'd have no one to blame but yourself. So that's the only thing that makes me nervous. But yeah, but I guess if you're careful, it's definitely helpful. Chris said painter's tape and CA glue. If used correctly, it can be as good as other methods. Yeah, it seems to work pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, what I like about that is you don't have to have tabs and then sand them all off after.
Right.
When you're done, you're done.
That's when that oscillating tool comes in handy, just to cut those tabs off for sure.
Yeah, but you still have to finish it off again, right?
Yeah,
you still have this stub hanging out.
Agreed. Chris said, I found a new mini niche, keychains with clips. This has been borrowed from phone number. So I have to give out someone's number. Speaking of, there's a company who's been sending me stuff for free on a regular basis. It's a software that you can use to create items for both a 3D printer and a CNC to create these like CAD files and layered files, and really makes. I know we always talk about using Tinkercad and all these other CAD programs that were made for children, entry level. Like their software does all that, and you can export it to use it for a 3D printer, export it to use for a CNC, and literally like Ricky could use it, and it's just amazing. So I think I'm gonna actually have him on the live at some point and let us do a live demo and ask him. Or join us on the live. You can we can maybe raffle off or give away some free year subscriptions or something to some of us. But even if you had to pay, it's very minimal, very inexpensive, but it's very capable software. I thought it was awesome. Oh man, we have a friend of mine who jumped into live. Excited to see him in the back. Chris said creating the video is hard. That's why it's cheaper to give the machine to the video. Exactly what I just said. Yeah, there's a lot going into creating a video, so it's
Yeah,
way cheaper.
especially a review,
Yes.
which is why I want to do fewer of them because they're just
Yeah.
too
So
hard.
Stan Banks is in the building. Those of you who don't know who Stan Banks is, if you ever heard of color print, um, he was one of the he was a poster child for DTF. I put it that way. When all these companies were first coming out with all these different printers, he was the poster child. He was commercials. He was the top dog. I'd say he was one of the like top 5% in YouTube. Big heavy hitter when it comes to the apparel industry. Hey Stan, thanks for jumping in the live, brother. I had actually asked him at some point maybe he'd jump on our live and give some advice on apparel industry. You want to take some, Steve?
Ed Cameron seems to be a new name. You're talking about Roy Underhill's Woodwright Shop. Yes, Roy Underhill did the Woodwright Shop, but I forget the. I guess it was the new Yankee Workshop was Norm, but they had these two things back to back when years ago when I was watching them, and it was like you go from the 1800s to the new millennium in like a half an hour.
Tony thinks it's comical now that those who don't join us, we say clack 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 3 times, but generally, if you if not, what's going on in the comments.
Clacks on the
If
road.
you say Clack always watches our lives, and
Well, he
if
listens
by
because
the
he's in his
third
shop.
time that he hears his name, he chimes in. And what he's doing is he's not watching; he's listening.
Yeah.
So he's working the shop doing something, and when his name is mentioned about the third time, he finally jumps in front of the computer and he answers whatever someone had said to him. So Tony said, "You don't have to worry about Clack tonight. He's on the road." And then you'll see 4 or 5 different people after that just writing clack clack in the comments.
Chris gives me credit for being right. He's an experimenter too. Yeah, I mean, I'll see things every now and again, and I'll go, I wonder how they made that, and I'll just go try, right? And sometimes I'll make something completely different by the end, but sometimes you learn a few things.
Yeah, so those who may be new, because I do see some new names, and you're wondering, Rick, why are you reading the comments? I'm capable of reading them myself. Well, just as I said about Clack, there's a lot of people who are not watching, they are listening to the lives. So we are taking Steve and I's all our social media feeds and pulling them to this nice app called StreamYard and sharing them and reading them aloud. So those who are not watching, just listening, are able to see the comments. Or someone like the Louisiana Laser hobby guy who also, just like Clack, always watches our live. They watch it on TV. So they don't have the capabilities of replying, but when they see their name mentioned more than once, all of a sudden they jump on a computer and reply. So different masses, different method to the madness, how people share to join our lives. That's all.
It doesn't work when Clack's on the road.
You want to take some, Steve?
Tony says, when I comment, I get notice that I'm number X on the leaderboard. Is this new to YouTube? I don't know. What's that? Oh, yeah, I guess he's watching on YouTube.
Oh, let's see here. Hold on.
Huh.
So YouTube is actually starting to pay attention to people who comment, and you're starting to get these stars and these tiers knowing that you're being active within the lives. So that's not us, that's YouTube doing that. Chris said, I only sell to people who value what I do.
Yeah. And who are interested in buying value, right? There's some people will say, hey, I really value what you do, but they don't want to pay for it.
Yeah. And that's one thing I say in the memorial niche. I've never been asked ever once to lower the price.
No.
But I have a tier system. So I'll say this starts at this and sky's the limit, right? So that I can fit within everyone's budget and make it affordable to anyone, you know? Chris said been there for a few months, I think. They just rolled it out in more areas. Yeah. YouTube's definitely changing some new things. A lot of new AI features going to be coming out. It's going to be kind of cool.
They got a bunch of people cranky about view counts recently because they turned that on. Now a view counts from the first frame of a video. So
yeah, so what they're saying is some people are saying is they're upset about shorts, and they're saying that a view from a short shouldn't have the same weight bearing as a view from a video, right? Because that's what's got some influencers upset. But the reality is that YouTube is competing with TikTok and Instagram and Twitter, right? So they're just trying to stay relevant.
Yeah, but I don't know. The whole TikTok format from a maker perspective, TikTok videos don't really work, right? You can't really show somebody something in
So I think the reason that so many people who are first starting off as influencers like TikTok is because TikTok has auto negotiated these deals, these brand deals. So once you achieve a certain level on TikTok, you basically literally log in and you see 70 different things. You can just say, send it to me and give them their information. And they're automatically going to accept you because you reached that tier level. And YouTube started doing that. So speaking of, Newegg is a new sponsor of my channel. So I'll be hopefully start giving away all kinds of cool stuff, hard drives and all kinds of cool stuff. So Newegg, because of that program through YouTube, is one of my new sponsors. They were just actually emailing me during this live. So very, very cool. Just gave away 10 free memberships to my channel, guys. So if you were lucky or blessed enough to get that, you're welcome. That comes out of my pocket. It's not free. And just a heads up, guys, we do go over tips on becoming an influencer and things like that. But I'm going to do a live on Sundays at 10 o'clock, a members only live, and be able to do one-on-ones with a small group of people, answering anyone's questions who wants to know how to become an influencer, how to get sponsors, how to negotiate sponsors, all the things that we do every day that maybe we don't show behind the curtains. A little more revealing to our members only. So if that's something you're interested in, follow me on Facebook or take a look on YouTube, and I will be posting that in the comment section.
Yeah, but don't ask me because I'm not an influencer. I'm a YouTuber.
YouTuber, influencer, whatever you want.
No, it's not the same.
Sandy said YouTube started. It's fall. You get a crown and you get more comments. You get a medal, which means nothing. They're just trying to stay relevant. We talked about it last week because before I was doing more shorts, the age market that was watching my channel was our age and older. And as I started creating shorts, it spread evenly across the board. So I don't think it's a YouTube failing or falling forward. I think it's them really trying to address who's using YouTube, whether it is beneficial to us or not as influencers.
Yeah, every once in a while I'll get a manufacturer who will say, "Oh, I want you to do a long form, but also a short form, like a short video." And it's like, I don't want to do short videos. Although I did one for Hey Gears that's about to roll over 1 million views.
Nice. There you go. See,
of course, 1 million views of a short gets you like $8 or something. It's not a lot.
Yeah. It's definitely not but here's the thing though. You take that short and you link it to the long-term content.
Oh no, I've done that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I guess I'm too old to appreciate the value of short videos because
Yeah.
most TikTokers are like 12.
Right. Dewey said, when are you going to put the links in Shop Talk Live? I'll actually be creating them tomorrow, sometime during the day. So I'll drop that live. I'll drop the links in the Shop Talk Live or my Rick's Two Sons on Facebook. Also in the comments on YouTube for anyone who wants to join that live on Sunday. Small groups, I don't want a lot of people. And if it starts growing too big, we'll do multiple. The whole point is I want to be able to small people to be able to answer, maybe dig on some analysis and actually start looking at people's YouTube. So, or other social medias and help people grow.
Yeah. I mean, I would happily help people because, I mean, you learn a few things when
Yeah,
you're
but I don't know that people would feel comfortable on this live
No, not
sharing
necessarily.
their screen and sharing the stats of YouTube, and that's why we're going to
But
keep it a
I
memory.
look at some of these people who say, "Oh, I can help you become a YouTuber or go viral." It's like, first of all, who
Yeah.
cares if you go viral? But and they'll say, "Oh, I'll charge you $1,000 a month or some ridiculous amount of money," right? And it's like, come on, like just
Yes.
help people, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
So it's just you learn a lot of what to do and what not to do, and a lot of the advice those guys have is advice that might have worked 3 years ago on YouTube, but it doesn't work anymore, right?
Agreed. Radui said is the link about the 3 embossed stuff, the hologram effects. I will find that and I'll send you. I'll put it in the comments on our Facebook group of the guy I purchased your artwork from. And you buy his files; they're fairly inexpensive, and like I said, he's extremely knowledgeable on all different type of lasers. So when you download the file, it even gives you some suggestions. If anyone wants to see what I changed or did differently than what he suggested, I'm more than welcome to share that. I did that on Amstack Craft, but again, different material, different laser, they could have different results, but results that I've seen were highly impressive. Highly impressive.
Yeah,
There's only been two real. There's only been like 2 real people who are, I'd say, that I'm a consumer for, that I would jump on the bandwagon and say, can't go wrong, buy this, buy this, buy this. No affiliate code, no nothing. And 2 things. One, what I would say that Steve and I both now use them. Steve uses them as well. Are coin blanks.
Yeah.
You'll never find a better coin blank supplier. It's just
Yeah,
not going to happen.
I actually got a dozen or a couple dozen brass coins from somebody that are not the unlimited, whatever they're called, those guys.
Okay.
Every time I want to buy something from them, I have to go look up their name again. But I got some of these.
gotta
I haven't
read your
tried them
name.
yet, but they're supposed to be 100% brass, and at least they don't stick to a magnet, which is a good step.
Okay.
So we'll
Well,
see. And they're cheap.
yeah.
They're only like, I don't know, $1.50 a coin or something. Like they're
Okay.
pretty cheap. So.
Yeah, so that and this guy, those are the 2 guys I think that's like, I'm not making any dime for it. I'm just something I spend my hard-earned dollar on, and you should do it too, kind of deal. But it looks like we're a little bit over time. But thank everyone for. We caught up on the comments, so we didn't leave anyone hanging. I do have my honey-do list, so to speak, so I will be replying to those questions people asked in the Facebook group. So if you're not already a member, drop that in. Appreciate you guys joining live, spending some time. Sorry I missed last week. In the Chicagoland area, we've been hitting with a whole lot of storms this whole month, and I was on storm duty, so I could not attend the live. Steve, do you want to close us out?
It's busy. I'm trying to make room in my shop. I have a couple of CNC videos coming soon, and the light make L4 video, and of course Bamboo's new magic, as well as X Tools X1. So lots of stuff coming up.
There you go, guys. All right, I'll thank you for joining the live. We'll see you next week.
Take care, all.